Daniel Reyes never believed in ghosts. Not even after moving into that old house on Maple Street, Ridgewood, Ohio. People in the neighborhood used to whisper about that place. Old Mrs. Carter from across the street once told him, "That house doesn't stay empty, it waits." Daniel laughed it off. Until the first night. It started with a sound. A soft, dragging noise. Like something being slowly pulled across the wooden floor. He sat up in bed, heart pounding lightly. The room was filled with a terrifying silence, the kind that presses against your ears. He checked his phone. 3:13 a.m. Again, that dragging sound. Closer this time. Daniel stepped out of bed. The hallway outside his room was dark, a long black corridor stretching into nothingness. The air felt cold. Too cold. "Hello," he called out. No answer. Just silence. And then, a whisper. Right behind his ear. "Daniel." He froze. His breath stopped. Slowly, very slowly, he turned around. Nothing. No one. But the air behind him felt warm, like someone had just been standing there. He rushed back into his room and slammed the door shut. Locked it. That was the first night. The next morning, he tried to forget it. Blamed it on stress. Moving boxes were still everywhere. Maybe his mind was playing tricks. But then he noticed something strange. His bedroom door. The lock was broken. From the outside. That night, Daniel stayed awake. He kept the lights on. No way he was sleeping again. Hours passed. Nothing happened. Maybe it really was nothing. Maybe. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then went out. Darkness swallowed the room instantly. And in that darkness, he heard breathing. Not his. Slow. Wet. Right next to his bed. Daniel's hands trembled as he reached for his phone. The flashlight turned on, cutting through the black like a knife. And for a split second, he saw it. A figure. Standing beside him. Its head tilted unnaturally. Its skin pale, stretched, like it didn't belong on a human body. And its eyes. Empty. Completely empty. Then it vanished. Daniel screamed. A blood-freezing scream that echoed through the house. But no one came. No one ever came. Because on Maple Street, people stopped checking on that house a long time ago. Daniel didn't sleep after that. Not even for a second. He packed his bags the next morning, hands shaking, mind racing. "I'm leaving," he whispered to himself. But something felt wrong. The house felt different. Quieter. Too quiet. As if it was listening. Watching. Waiting. He grabbed his car keys and rushed outside. The cold morning air hit his face, but it didn't help. Because across the street, Mrs. Carter was staring at him. Standing completely still. Her expression blank. "You saw it, didn't you?" she said. Daniel froze. "How do you?" That thing doesn't like when people try to leave. A chill ran down his spine. "I don't care," Daniel said quickly. "I'm getting out of here." Mrs. Carter stepped closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper. It followed the last one. Daniel's grip tightened on his keys. "What do you mean?" But she didn't answer. She just slowly pointed. Behind him. Daniel turned. Nothing there. Just his house. Silent. Dark. Watching. He got into his car and slammed the door. Locked it. Started the engine. "I'm done," he muttered. The car started. Relief washed over him. Finally, he pressed the gas. The engine died. The car went silent. Daniel frowned. No, 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 no. He tried again. Nothing. Dead. Then, the radio turned on by itself. Static filled the car. Loud. Sharp. Painful. And through the static, a voice. Whispering. "Daniel, don't go." His blood ran cold. The car doors locked automatically. Click. 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 Daniel pulled at the handle. Stuck. The windows fogged up instantly. From the inside. As if someone was breathing heavily. All around him. "Stop. Stop," he shouted. Then he saw it. On the fogged window beside him. A handprint. From the inside. But it wasn't his. The fingers were too long. Too thin. Too wrong. And then, another handprint appeared. And another. And another. Until the entire window was covered. Something was inside the car with him. But he couldn't see it. Only feel it. Right behind him. Breathing. Closer. 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 And then, a whisper. Right into his ear. "You live here now." Daniel's scream echoed through Maple Street. But like always, no one came. Because everyone already knew. Once it chooses you, it never lets you leave. Daniel didn't remember how he got back inside the house. One moment, he was screaming in the car. The next, he was standing in his living room, breathing heavily, sweating. The front door, wide open. cold air drifting inside like something had just entered, or something had just let him in. I left, he whispered, but his bags were gone. His car keys gone. Everything he packed gone. It was like the house had erased his attempt to escape. A low creaking sound echoed from upstairs. Slow, rhythmic, like someone rocking back and forth on an old wooden chair. Daniel's chest tightened. No, I'm not going up there. But his feet moved, step by step by step, as if something was pulling him, controlling him. The stairs groaned under his weight. Each step felt heavier than the last. The air grew colder, thicker, harder to breathe. At the top of the stairs, the hallway looked different. Longer, darker, endless. The walls seemed to stretch like they were alive. This isn't my house, Daniel whispered. Then he saw it. A door at the end of the hallway. A door that wasn't there before. Old, rotten, slightly open. And from inside, a faint whisper, calling him. Daniel. His body froze. Every instinct screamed at him to run. But his hand slowly reached for the doorknob. Cold, wet, like touching dead skin. The whisper grew louder. Come inside. Daniel pushed the door open. The room was dark, pitch black, but there was a smell. A rotting smell, thick and suffocating, like something had been decaying there for years. His phone flashlight flickered on, and what he saw made his blood run cold. The walls were covered in scratches. Deep, desperate, as if someone had tried to claw their way out. And in the center of the room, a chair, facing the wall, slowly rocking, back and forth, back and forth. Daniel stepped closer, heart pounding violently. Hello? The chair stopped. Silence. Heavy, crushing silence. Then, it turned, slowly, revealing what was sitting on it. A figure, thin, twisted, its limbs bent at unnatural angles. Its face, hidden behind long, tangled hair. But Daniel could feel it. It was looking at him, watching him. And then, it spoke, in a broken, distorted voice. I tried to leave too. Daniel's breath hitched. What are you? The figure tilted its head, bones cracking softly. I live here now. The same words, the same whisper. Daniel stumbled back. No, no, no. But the door behind him slammed shut, and the lights went out. Darkness swallowed everything. Daniel couldn't see, couldn't move, could barely breathe. The air was thick with that rotting, suffocating smell. Then, a sound, crawling, something moving on the floor. Fast, too fast. Daniel turned on his phone light again and screamed. The figure was gone from the chair. The room was empty, but the scratching sounds were now behind him, on the walls, on the ceiling, all around him, like something was crawling in every direction at once. Stop, he shouted. The sound stopped instantly. Silence. Then, a whisper, right in front of him. You shouldn't have opened the door. Daniel slowly lifted the flashlight, and there it was, right in front of his face, inches away, its face now visible, skin torn, eyes hollow, mouth stretched into an unnatural, broken smile. And inside its mouth, more darkness, endless darkness. Daniel tried to scream, but no sound came out. The creature leaned closer, its breath cold and wet against his skin. And then it said something that made his entire body go numb. It knows your voice now. If you hear it call your name, don't answer. The walls began to shake. Violently. The scratches grew deeper, louder. The house wasn't still anymore. It was alive, hungry. Daniel fell to his knees, shaking uncontrollably. What do you want from me? The creature slowly raised its hand, pointed behind him. Daniel turned. The wall had changed. Words were carved into it. Deep, fresh, bleeding. Stay. Over and over again. Hundreds of times. Written by different hands. Different people. All trapped. All screaming silently. And then, new letters began to carve themselves into the wall. Right in front of him. Invisible claws digging into the wood. Spelling something new. Something meant just for him. Daniel stays. He shook his head violently. No, I'm leaving. I don't belong here. The creature let out a low, distorted laugh. A sound that didn't belong in this world. And then it whispered, You already do. The floor beneath Daniel cracked, splitting open. Darkness rising from below like a living thing. Hands. Dozens of hands. Pale. Decaying. Reaching up toward him. Grabbing. Pulling. Daniel screamed as they wrapped around his legs, dragging him down, slowly, into the darkness. And the last thing he saw was the creature standing above him, smiling, watching, waiting. Daniel was falling, endlessly, through darkness that felt alive. The hands didn't let go. Cold, rotting fingers digging into his skin, pulling him deeper into something that didn't feel like a place. It felt like a stomach, like the house was swallowing him. His screams echoed, but the sound came back wrong, distorted, like something else was screaming with him. Then, he hit the ground. Hard. Silence followed. A heavy, suffocating silence. Daniel opened his eyes slowly. He wasn't in the room anymore. He wasn't even in the house. At least, not the house he knew. This place looked like a twisted version of it. A dark corridor stretched in every direction, walls covered in deep scratches, old blood stains, and handprints layered over each other like desperate warnings. The air was thick with a rotting, metallic smell. And then, he heard voices. Whispers. Dozens of them. Crying. Begging. Repeating the same words. We stayed. Daniel turned slowly. Figures began to appear from the darkness. One by one. Men. Women. Children. All pale. All broken. Their bodies twisted unnaturally, like something had reshaped them. Their eyes. Empty. Just like the thing upstairs. You're like us now, one of them said. Daniel shook his head, backing away. No, I'm not. I'm not staying here. A woman stepped forward. Her face was half torn, revealing something dark underneath. We all said that. Her voice cracked like something inside her throat was broken. Daniel's chest tightened. How do I leave? He asked desperately. The figures went silent. Then, they all smiled. Slow. Unnatural. Creepy in a way that didn't feel human anymore. You don't. The corridor began to shift. Walls closing in. The floor trembling beneath his feet. And then, Daniel saw something that made his heart stop. At the end of the corridor, a door. The same door. The one he opened. But this time, someone else was standing in front of it. A young man. Confused. Scared. Reaching for the knob. Just like Daniel did. No, Daniel whispered. That was me. The figures behind him moved closer. You see it now, one of them whispered. This house doesn't trap people. It repeats them. Daniel's breath became shallow. What does that mean? And then, he saw it. Every scratch on the wall. Every handprint. Every scream. They weren't from different people. They were from the same people. Over and over again. Different versions. Different attempts. All ending the same way. The house wasn't just alive. It was looping. Feeding. Recreating. And no one ever truly left. Daniel ran. He didn't care where. He just ran. The corridor stretched endlessly, twisting around him like a living maze. The whispers followed him. Closer. Louder. More desperate. You can't escape. You opened it. You belong here. Stay. Daniel covered his ears, screaming as he ran. I'm not staying. But the corridor suddenly ended, and he found himself back in his bedroom, on Maple Street, breathing heavily, sweating, the morning light shining through the window. Silence. Normal silence. Daniel looked around in shock. Everything was normal. No scratches. No blood. No darkness. Just his room. His house. His life. It was a dream, he whispered. Relief hit him all at once. He laughed nervously. I'm okay. I'm okay. Then, he noticed something. His phone. On the screen. A recording. Playing by itself. Static filled the speaker. And then, his own voice. Crying. Screaming. Begging. Please let me out. Daniel froze. The recording continued. But then the voice changed. It became distorted. Twisted. Not fully human. You already are. The screen went black. And slowly, very slowly, the front door creaked open downstairs. Daniel's smile disappeared. A cold dread filled his chest. No. Footsteps echoed through the house. Slow. Heavy. Dragging. Coming closer. Step. 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 Daniel backed away from the door, trembling, tears forming in his eyes. It's not over. The footsteps stopped. Right outside his room. Silence. A terrifying silence. Then, a knock. Soft. Gentle. Almost polite. Knock. 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 Daniel held his breath. Too scared to move. Too scared to speak. And then, a voice. From the other side of the door. His voice. Perfectly mimicking him. Daniel opened the door. His blood turned to ice. Because he was already inside. So then, who was outside? The handle slowly began to turn. And the last thing Daniel understood, before everything went dark, was the truth. The house doesn't just trap you. It replaces you. If you heard your name while listening to this, don't ignore it. Comment below. I won't open the door. And subscribe before something listens back.